Alright, so I just came back from seeing Halloween Ends, and yeah, for the non-spoilery part for this review, let's just say that I really did enjoy this film, and I'd say it was better than Kills. I'd say it was better than Kills, not as good as the 2018 film, and I'll also say this is the most different Halloween film I've probably seen. You know, I mean, even stuff, for example, like the producer's cut of Halloween 6, for the most part, that was a standard Halloween film apart from the ending. This one is different from really the start and through most of it, in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's not exactly what you're expecting, and the trailers are a little bit misguiding. Now, don't get me wrong, the stuff that you generally see in the trailer is stuff that you will see in the film, and I'll get onto that when I talk about spoilers. But, yeah, this film, is interesting to say the least. But generally, I'd find that if you're looking for, like, your standard sort of Michael Myers slasher film, this one's not it. This one's really not it. In fact, this one has a much lower body count than their previous ones. But I mean, so did the original, but it got fine on that. But yeah, overall, I think if you enjoy the previous two films, this will definitely be one that you'll enjoy. And also, it is a satisfying enough conclusion to this whole Gone Green trilogy of films. But yeah, so really, I'm gonna have to talk about this film properly. I'm gonna have to go into spoilers. So, spoiler warning in three, two, one. So, the thing with this film, and it's the reason when I asked my brother when we were coming out of the cinema, he said he didn't like this film, and I said why. He said not enough Michael Myers. And bear in mind, he's 18, so yeah, he was expecting a lot more Michael Myers. Michael Myers, yeah, most of the Michael Myers scenes in this film are in the trailer, bar a few. Most of James Courtney's scenes as Michael Myers in this film are in the trailer. So, yeah, now, obviously, the whole deal with this film is it's meant to show the spread of evil and Michael's sort of evil and having it basically, pass on to someone else. And I'm still gonna say who that someone else is, but when you're watching the film it'll be obvious. But that someone else does more killing in this film than Michael Myers does. In this film, not across them, but in this film he does. So yeah, and it was interesting to a point where they're going with it, thankfully, and it does explain the fingers in the trailer. The problem is the trailer again, just like last year's one, showed too much. Most of the stuff in the trailer is from the last act, so yeah, the fingers being shown, and also most of Laurie and Michael's fight being shown. In fact, if you saw the Graham Norton show, you saw even more of it because you got to see the leading to it. So yeah, the final fight itself, the problem is that it just kind of just happens, you know. And I think number one, there's no real build up to it. Unfortunately, Michael just is there, and there you go. There's no Laurie stalking him or anything like that. Again, I'd say their fight in the 2018 film was more satisfying than this, to be honest, for the most part. And also, I don't know if it was because the cinema I was in, but the fight itself is pretty hard to see as well because it's in the dark. Now, they could have got around this, by maybe having some fire or something like that to maybe brighten it a little bit more just so, you can see it, or something like that. But it is pretty dark during the fight as well. So yeah, it was a bit more difficult to actually see it. It's not a bad fight, but you know, it just kind of felt like, oh, we're here now. You know, the in the trailers and that, you showing it in the trailers, you'd think, oh, the fight would be maybe halfway through and that, but no, there's no real build up to Michael's return. Laurie doesn't actually know really that Michael has, returned until really she fights him. That is the first time she encounters Michael in the entire film. And she's the only other person apart from, our copycat killer, shall we say, to encounter Michael before his demise in this film. Yeah, that lives, I should say. So, yeah, go away, notifications. I don't know why you're notifying me now. Anyway, so yeah, this film does that. Now, the copycat killer thing with the evil spreading type thing, I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it for the most part, but I think the problem is it did take away a lot from Michael. Basically, I think they should have been a more slower sort of build up. It also kind of implied in places that, well, heavily implied that basically killing gives Michael his power, basically. Because at the start of the film, Michael is pretty weak. He is pretty weak, and yeah, but then Michael's first kill of the film, he then suddenly grows more powerful, and then the more people he kills, he grows more and more and more powerful. And this is also shown to be the case with the person that Michael's evil spreads to. So yeah, the whole killing thing and they don't really explain it at all, and they just kind of leave it up to your interpretation. But yeah, but also this film, again, major spoiler alert in 3, 2, 1. But yeah, well, actually, I've already mentioned it. Anyway. So yeah, Michael dies in this film. Like, straight up dies. Definitively dies. He is dead, not coming back. To the point where they grind up his body. Yeah. Like, I don't know. The thing is, though, his death in the film, I was shocked for the wrong reasons. I was shocked in just how anticlimactic it was. It just kind of, just there and just kind of happened. To be honest, there was a few things in this film I thought were kind of foreshadowings that ended up not being that. But yeah, I will say, though, Jamie Lee Curtis is great in this film as always, and she's actually properly in this one, unlike the previous film where, I mean, she was still in it, but not to the same extent she was here. So yeah, it's a very non-traditional Halloween film, and it's hard to really explain it in details because I'm gonna have to watch it a few more times when it eventually comes out on 4K Blu-ray. But yeah, overall, I did still really enjoy it. And if you live in the US, you can watch this on Peacock. I don't think we have Peacock in the UK. I can't remember. But I do highly recommend seeing it in a cinema. The cinema I saw, it was fairly empty. However, there was a group of girls a couple of rows behind me, who every so often would do an audio commentary of what was happening. Like, ooh, there's a knife. Ooh, look, Michael Myers is behind her. Literal stuff like that at several points during the film. Now, thankfully, it wasn't throughout the entire film, but God, like, I'm used to kids, little toddlers saying that whenever I've, go to see a kids film or something like that. But God, an 18, just like, come on. But Yeah, it was satisfying enough for it, I guess. Yeah. Also, there was a weird thing where the sheriff pops up at the end. Yeah, the sheriff of Haddonfield pops up at the end. So I was like, oh yeah, I was surprised that he was in this film. But yeah, he pops up for basically a cameo, and also Laurie's neighbour, the one who got uh, a light bulb through the neck in Halloween Kills. Yeah, she was actually alive at the end. Yeah, she didn't actually die. And they count her. The thing is, though, that if you go and watch, if you have the Halloween Kills Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray, there's a kill count, and they count it as a kills, but she doesn't die. She can't speak anymore, and she's bound to a wheelchair. But yeah, she's alive, and I was surprised at that. There's even a cameo, by the toenail clipping kid, um, in the 2018 film, and it was nice to see a cameo on that because, to be honest, he was one of my favourite characters in that film, just because he had the best reaction to Michael Myers. Oh shit, and then nope, just ran out of the house, just away. So yeah, it was nice to see a cameo from him at the end, but. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that James Courtney is actually in the credits and that before the film, but he barely gets any screen time in this as Michael Myers at all, which is a shame. So, yeah, John Carpenter's music is fantastic as always. The theme in this film basically feels a bit more like the 2018 film. It's got that more thump that the 2018 one had. Whereas also being a more, I guess, sort of warbly version of the original, and a bit of Halloween 2's themes sort of shoved into there. But yeah, I'd say overall this was a solid trilogy, or quadrilogy, technically. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, what will happen next with Michael Myers, because obviously they can't continue this timeline anymore because, well, Michael's dead. But yeah, but Mustafa Akkad would have never signed off on this film. He would have never signed off on this film because Michael can never definitively die, or there would have been some bullshit with like what happened with Resurrection. But yeah, it was nice to actually finally see definitive, like 100% death. They parade. They basically strap Michael's body to a car and basically parade it through the streets, and then grind it up essentially to incinerate it, presumably afterwards. But yeah, definitively dead. And also, you get to see probably the most of Michael's face you've ever seen in any of these films, ever, really. So, yeah. But yeah, that's it for what I thought Halloween Ends. I did enjoy it. Maybe my opinion will change when I see it again. I'm looking forward to seeing some of the deleted and extended scenes that are going to be on the 4K Blu-ray. I've pre-ordered both steelbooks of them because I'm that mental. But yeah, there we go, people. There we go.